Let us complete the code for the purpose it was created. What this code is doing, if the database flag is Y, then whenever I upload a file in S3, this Lambda function will execute this code and it will read the records from that file and insert it in the database. And I have not created the database. First, let me go ahead and create an Aurora serverless database. I hope you already know how to do that. And here I'll be selecting Aurora MySQL and select the latest version itself. It should not be production, it should be dev test. And let's name it as 3IAM MySQL DB. The username is admin and the password would be self-managed. I'll keep most of the other configurations as is. It should be Aurora standard and I'll be using serverless v2. The reason I'm using serverless v2 is because I do not want to pay any cost when I'm not using the database. So it is serverless v2. The minimum capacity is 0 and the maximum is 16 SU, which is 32 GB. And the database would pause after 5 minutes of inactivity. Let's change it to 10 minutes. I do not want to create any replica, and in the connectivity I'll have to provide 3IAM Spark VPC, and the subnet group is 3IAM Spark DB subnet group. I had created this earlier. Let's enable public access, and in the security group I'll mention 3IAM Spark VPC public security group. The name of the database is lambda_db, and I'm disabling everything else so that the database creation completes fast. But before creating the database, I want to check the subnet group and I want to make sure that the subnet group has only public subnet. So that is correct. The subnet group has only public subnet. The reason I'm doing it because I wanted to connect to the database or to the cluster from my laptop. So once the database creation is complete, then I'll get the host name, the database name and password, everything, and I'll have to provide that using the environment variables that we have. Here I have db name, db host, db name. I'll have to change all these, provide that information, provide all these information, and then execute the code. To execute the code, I'll have to upload a file in Lambda S3 to MySQL. So this time what will I do is that I'll upload all the 5 files together so that the Lambda function gets executed 5 times in parallel. So basically the code would be executed. The code that we have written, the Python code that we have written will get executed 5 times in parallel. So that is the concurrency that I was talking about at the beginning. So because I have only 5 files, so I'll upload all the 5 files together and you'll see that the parallel or the concurrent execution would be 5. And it should upload or it should insert 5,000 records in the database. Let's wait for the database to become available and then we'll make the changes in the configuration parameter for the environment variables and then we'll execute the Lambda code. The database is available now and let us go ahead and look at the host and the database name, etc. This would be the host. So I'll have to provide this host or this endpoint in the Lambda environment variable. Why this would be the host? Because whenever you see the type is writer, you should pick that up. So this is the first one. And in the configuration, environment variables, I will put the host as this endpoint. Now the database name that we had created was lambda_db if I'm not wrong. I can look at it here. If I select the instance and scroll down in the configuration, and in the configuration we have this db name which is lambda_db. So this would be the name of the database. The user is admin. I'll provide the password and the db flag is y. In the code I had mentioned that the table name is emp, right? So what we have to do is we'll have to create this emp table in the database. So let me connect to the database and I'll have to use the lambda_db. So I'll be using this show databases command and then use the database lambda_db, and let us go ahead and create a table. The name of the table would be emp. It would have emp id and emp email. So this is the table that I'm creating, and obviously I have just created the table and there would not be any records. So let us go ahead and execute the Lambda code. I hope there is no error once I execute it. Even if there is error, we'll fix it anyway. So now the code would be deployed. Actually, there are no changes to deploy, it seems. So let me go ahead and upload all the 5 files here. Then the Lambda function should get triggered 5 times. And let me open the monitor, and you would see that we have not done any execution, and it is showing you the last 3 hours data. Let me put it as 1 hour. So it is showing the last 1 hour's data, and there has not been any invocation, there has not been any duration because I have not executed it. This time, after uploading the file, I will give a pause till the time we can see the CloudWatch matrix. And here in the CloudWatch log stream, in the log groups, for some reason I'm not able to see the log groups in Chrome. So I've opened it in Safari in a different browser. And this is the log group that I'm talking about, which is 3am S3 trigger to MySQL. There is a single log stream and I'll delete it. And now let me go ahead and upload all the 5 files. So these are the 5 files, Lambda EMP1 to Lambda EMP5. And all the upload are done. It should trigger the Lambda function and the code should execute 5 times. So there are 5 log streams. There was no error. The execution duration was 746 milliseconds for the first log stream. For the second log stream also, there were no errors. Same is the case with the third execution, fourth and fifth execution. All the executions completed successfully. Let's look at the table, and looks like there are rows, and 5005 rows are there in the set. If you do a count star, there should be 5005 rows actually, because the headers are also considered as records. So we were able to trigger the Lambda function using the event of file upload to S3, and then Lambda got executed with a Python runtime wherein I had an additional library or module PyMySQL, which is not given by AWS environment out of the box, and the Python code inserted the rows in the table that we have created. So the end-to-end execution of Lambda has been successful. Before I close this video, I wanted to show you the execution. Now you see here, it's a very small dot. So this is a single dot. Now you see the invocations sum were 5. The reason is we had uploaded 5 files together, and the duration was maximum is 11,000 milliseconds, which is 11 seconds. Average is 11.4 seconds, and minimum is 11.3 seconds. There were no error count as such. The success rate is 100%. There were no throttles, and the total concurrent executions you see is also showing as 5. And this is the reason I had uploaded all the 5 files together in S3, because I wanted to show you concurrent executions of the Lambda function. So the same code got executed 5 times because you had uploaded 5 files together in the S3 location. So that's all I wanted to show you in Lambda hands-on. Let us try to look at some of the architecture using Lambda.